everyone, I hope you're all safe and well. My name's Coach Abby. If you don't already know me, I'm a cheer and gymnastics coach from the gym, and today I'm going to be doing an online session for cheer jumps. Today we'll be working on our double T jump, and in particular we're going to focus on the technique of our arms and jumps when we're doing the jump, and we're going to try our best to make ourselves more powerful and stronger within the jump itself. Just before we begin, I want you to make sure you're in a nice safe space that's open and doesn't have any potentially harmful things in it. And then once you've done that, we can begin. Okay, so I begin the warm-up by just jogging. Not really a heavy jog, just a sort of light jog. If you want to challenge yourself, you could try sprinting, but I just stuck to jogging pretty much the whole way through for just 30 seconds. And then from there I move into a high knees. I keep the speed similar to a jog, so not too fast but also not too slow. Try and bring those knees up as much as you can just to ensure that we're working our flexibility too. Now I'm moving into heel flicks, so we're trying to kick our bum, and this is going to warm up a muscle in the front of our legs called the quad. So moving on from there, I then went on to jumping stars. So you want to start down in a squatted position and then push off with as much power as possible into a star shape, and you're going to do about 20 of these. Okay, so now we're going to repeat everything we just did all over again. So we start with simple jogging. If you can, try and make it a little bit harder for yourself and speed yourself up, turn it maybe into a sprint, and then you're going to do about 30 seconds of that. Then we move back into our high knees just like before. We're going to try and pick up the pace, get a little bit faster, bring those knees up a little bit higher if you can too. And then moving into our heel flicks, trying to keep those feet moving nice and fast. Try not to slow down if you can. And just like before, moving back into our jumping stars, you're going to do 20 more, and doing this will allow your legs to get more and more power even when they are tired. So from here we're going to move into our head to toe stretch. So we start by circling our arms backwards, and then we circle forwards. And once we've done each of those, about 10 each way, we try one arm backwards and one arm forwards. This will give you a little bit of a challenge, so try your best. Then I started circling my hips both directions. This will get our hips nice and mobile, ready to do some jumps. And then I leaned over to one side, stretching the side of our body. Big deep stretch if you can. And then I moved over to the other side, exactly the same thing, try and hold it for about 20 seconds. And then from there down to one knee, so straight knees, remember, try and touch your nose to your knee. And then from there over to the other side, exactly the same thing again, straight knees, nose on your knee if you can. Now I'm reaching down the middle, and the challenge for this part is trying to get your hands behind your feet if you can. And then exactly the same thing again, but this time with your legs together, making sure we're keeping our knees nice and straight. Now sitting down in our straddle shape, we're going to lean over to one side, hold that for about 20 seconds, keeping those knees nice and straight, toes pointed, and then we're going to fold over to the other side, exactly the same thing again, nose on your knee if you can, try your best to keep those knees nice and straight too. And then from there, we're going to lift up tall and go all the way back down the middle, again keeping your knees straight and toes pointed as much as you can. So from there I then moved into the pike shape. I folded flat for as much as I could. Nose on knee again, just similar to the straddle. Then I flexed my toes up to the sky and pulled them back. This is stretching the bottom half of our legs. Then I circled my ankle one way and then the other way. This is going to make sure our ankles are nice and flexible, ready to take the power. And then I switched legs and did exactly the same thing on the other side. So then I began warming my back up. So I went to a good seal, legs together, and then to a bad seal, and I held that for a little while. And then I went back to the good seal and tried to touch my feet to my head. So as you can tell, I'm not very good at it, but I'm sure you can do much better. And then back into a bad seal again. Then I moved into my lunge. It doesn't really matter which leg, as long as you do both, it'll be fine. So any leg lunge, trying to push your hips forward, and then fold back, try and sit on your back leg, and reach for your front foot with a straight knee at all times. Stretch as much as you can, and then sit back up into your lunge and grab your back foot. Doesn't really matter if your chest is up, but if it can be, then that's really good. Now slide into your splits and hold this for a full 30 seconds. Then after that I went into my other leg lunge, and again trying to push my hips forward as much as possible. Then I folded back onto my back leg and straightened my knee. And then later on I went up back to the lunge, grabbed my back leg, and again pushed my hips forward. Then you need to just slide into your splits. Try and keep your knees straight all the way throughout. Make sure it's not wonky. Keep your belly button facing forward and your shoulders should be pushed back if possible. Now I've moved into the side lunge with one hand on the floor and my toe always facing the ceiling. And then I swapped to the other side and then kind of went to this sumo position, stretching my shoulders, pushing my hips towards the floor, and then into froggies. So I just straightened one leg out for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then later on, once you've done that, change to the other leg. And then lastly, I just warmed up my wrists, so in a wave, in a ball, just make your wrists nice and flexible. So the key to pretty jumps is knowing your counts and defining them. So this is count 1, as I'm displaying. All you need to do is clasp your hands together and then keep those elbows nice and tight together, at which point we also bend our knees. So now we're going to add in count 2, at which point you straighten your arms and cover your ears at all times. During this, our legs also straighten and you're going to go onto the balls of your feet, so your tiptoes. At this point, I want you to challenge yourself and see how long you can hold count 2 for. Then slowly we're adding in count 3, so it's back to a similar position that we was in for count 1, so bent knees, and this time the clasp is going to go in front of our knees, at which point our chest still needs to be up. So once you've done it slowly, you can speed it up a little bit and add all the counts together. So once you've mastered that, you can then move on to the T position on count 4, so straight arms, chest up, big donuts to the front, and you're going to try and squeeze your ribs in round. So your challenge for this part is to get a family member to press down on your arms and see if they can stay up strong. Count 5 is very similar to count 3, in which we bend our knees, but this time our right hand is going to be on top of our left hand, both in fists. So count 6 is exactly the same as count 4, and this is how it's done throughout the whole jump. Here I'm showing you the exact same thing from the side, and it's really crucial for this jump that on count 5 you bend your legs a lot. And once you've added all the counts together, we've then completed the double T jump. So as we're coming to the end of our session, we're going to do a little bit of conditioning. So we'll start with crunchies, bent legs, and we're going to do 20 of these. It's really important that you hold the disc shape as you begin to lie back down. Once you've done 20, you're then going to move on to a single leg. So I did my right leg first and then my left leg. So you're going to do 10 on each leg, which comes to 20 altogether. So once that's done, you're then going to move on to do the same thing but with straight legs, and this is a little bit more of a challenge. So you're going to do 20 with straight legs, just going up and touching your toes, and then 10 on the right and then 10 on the left. So we're now going to move on to mountain climbers. You want to start in a nice flat front support position and bring your knees up to your elbows 20 times. Now we're going to move on to 20 rock and rolls. So you're going to roll onto your back, stand up as fast as possible, and then do a really high tuck jump. 20 of those, and then we can move on. So once we finish every session, it's really important we complete a cool down. So all I did was a lunge, and then I slid into my splits and held that, making sure my shoulders are pressed back. And then I changed to the other leg, same thing again, lunge, and then into my splits. And held that for about 30 seconds too. And then following that, I went into a straddle and folded as far forward as possible. And then exactly the same thing for a pike shape. Try and hold each one for a minute. Then I moved into a good seal to stretch my back, and then into the bad seal. I held each one for about 20 seconds. And then lastly, you want to push up to a bridge, hold that for about 20 seconds, and then that's the end of our session. And that's the end of today's session. I hope you all had fun and enjoyed yourself trying to learn a double T jump. This week's challenge is going to be to try and do a slow-mo video of your double T jump. And once you've completed the challenge, you need to upload it to Instagram or Facebook and then tag us at Gymfinity Cheer and Dance. Once you've done that, we're going to pick a winner at the end of the week. I hope you're all well, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.